Hey, yo, what's the deal? This your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 6:23 p.m. But the upload time is between 11:30 and 11:45 p.m. August 23rd, 2025. Now, I mean, I'm actually doing this video in the bathroom because it's noisy because outside, they're having a block party. Happy Fort Greene Day. Now, I mean, it's Fort Greene Day, you know what I'm saying, outside of Ingersoll Projects. I actually recorded a little bit of footage that I'm gonna put together and put in the shorts. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Fort Greene. You know what I mean? I love Fort Greene. You know what I mean? I love Brooklyn, period. I love everywhere in Brooklyn. I love all parts of Brooklyn, all neighborhoods in Brooklyn, but Fort Greene is different. You know what I mean? Fort Greene, Clinton Hill is a certain vibe in Fort Greene, Clinton Hill that, it just hits very, very different. So, I don't know if you guys noticed this, right? With AEW. But, of course, I had mentioned about Danhausen, how, Tony Khan is freezing his contract. Not freezing his contract, but he's actually putting more months into his contract, right? He's adding more time into the contract, right? So Danhausen is not going to be a free agent until 2026. We all know he's going to WWE, right? But this has kind of been a trend that Tony Khan has been doing since last year. You know what I mean? Definitely since last year when, when Penta and Ray Phoenix wanted to go to WWE, right? And what he did was he added more time. He added more fucking injury time because he felt like, oh, well, I add more time and WWE's not going to want him and shit. Let's make him wait longer and such. But if you notice, Tony Khan doesn't add time to people who are not going to go to WWE, which is basically zero. And very, 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 very rare. Very rare, right? Someone like Layla Hirsch, right? Layla Hirsch, she did not get extra time on her deal. You know what I'm saying? And, she's now a free agent. I know the last thing I heard about her was she was auditioning to be a ref. A referee and such, right? Of course, this didn't happen with Mariah May either. You know what I mean? But they knew Mariah May was going to go to WWE. Stephanie Vacuum, same thing. But for certain people who they have under contract, right? What they like to do is, Tony, because Tony's so angry and petty that he figures, okay, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to add more time into your deal. I'm going to add more time into your fucking deal and such. You want to piss me off? Bet I'm going to make you wait for it. And that's a bitch move. You know what I mean? He did this with, like I said, he did this with Phoenix. He did this with Penta. He did this with Ricky Starks. He did this with Ricky Starks. He was going to do this with Malachi Black, but I think Malachi Black had some good lawyers on him to the point where that did not happen. You know what I mean? But now that he's doing this to Danhausen, it's like, that's a pussy move. That is a bitch move. He's doing this to Britt Baker. You know what I mean? He's doing this shit to Britt Baker. You know what I'm saying? Britt Baker's been looking good lately too. Like she's posted some pics of herself in the beach. You know what I'm saying? And who knows who else he's gonna do this shit to? Private Party. You know what I mean? Don't be surprised if he do this shit to Private Party. WWE wants Private Party. They want Private Party. You know what I mean? Like I said, that is a bitch move from Tony Khan. It is. And there could be talks that Jericho could be getting time added. You know what I mean? That's a bitch move from Tony Khan. You know what I mean? And that's the only reason why he's extending these times. If you are a person who is not planning on going to WWE, right? Or if WWE doesn't want you, right? Because WWE wants the majority of these people there, right? But let's say if you are a person who WWE has no interest in whatsoever, right? You're not on WWE's radar and your contract from AEW is coming up. He's not going to add the time. He's not going to do that. You know what I mean? Because he would have done that to people like Jake Hager or The Righteous. You know what I'm saying? Or the rest of these motherfuckers who you see, right? But if it's someone like, let's say Keith Lee, who, by the way, there's some news on Keith Lee. Keith Lee is actually cleared. He's cleared, right? But funny thing, they have no creative direction for him. Like, come on, man. But again, if you are a person who doesn't have name value, right? They're not going to put time into your contract, right? But then again, you never know if WWE actually wants you or not. Look at Ethan Page. Nobody knew Ethan Page was going to go to WWE, right? He just went on his own, right? He let the contract lapse, and look what happened. Look what happened, right? Same thing with Shawn Spears. The exact same thing, right? Shawn Spears let the contract lapse, and he came right back to WWE. This is what I'm talking about, right? Again, Tony knows that WWE, or the majority of the talent is there. WWE is going to court them. It doesn't matter if they're in Ring of Honor, if they wrestle exclusively for Collision and such. He knows. So to fuck with them, he adds on the time. He's not going to add on the time to, let's say, a Joe Schmo who really doesn't have a name. Let's say it's someone like Peter Avalon, right? Remember Peter Avalon? You know what I'm saying? Let's say for someone like him, right? Or what's this guy name? I don't even know if this guy's under contract still. Anthony Ogogo, right? Let's say if it's someone like those two, who you don't even fucking see on TV, right? Let's say if he let go of those two, right? Then WWE's not going to court them, so they want out. Yeah, WWE, he's gonna release him. He's not going to add no time into him because they're not on WWE's radar, But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy and sad to think. That's not smart business, man. That's not. Anyway, I'm about to be out, guys. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go back downstairs and enjoy myself before Green Day. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.